Hello and welcome to another Stream Team review. Almost forgot what we were doing today. Anyway, we are chatting about Harry Potter 6, and only Harry Potter 6, since we're saving number 7 for tomorrow. Anyway, I've got a bunch of guests in the back room, so let's start off with the Noble Kote.
Higher the scales of justice! Conductor of the choir of death! Sing, brothers! Sing!
Oh, is it really that time again?
Indeed. And let's bring in our resident, lovely British, love-struck barmaid, Becca.
Yep, that's me.
Funny what Valentine's does to a girl, you know.
Yeah, I should have gotten some tips from Tarek. Eric, honestly.
What? Did you embarrass yourself?
Oh,
Once he
undoubtedly, or at least,
Once you never.
or at the very least, I did not perform, as it were. I'll make it up to her later.
Well, that explains why she replied to my picture of a bunch of flowers with complete disdain. Well, not disdain, but
Yeah.
but like, well, it
Yeah,
looks like Tarek can do the right thing.
Yeah, I did. I forgot to send her a gift. I should have sent her something. I'll figure out something to send her.
You should.
That is what you're supposed to do on Valentine's. You're supposed to say,
Yes.
well, I mean, you know, hey, sometimes we can't help it. We have to do it afterwards, but it's helpful to say before Valentine's, hey, I'm not going to be able to get you your Valentine's shit on Valentine's. Hey.
Yeah. With
tips
that,
for next time, done.
Yeah, definitely. It's just that I have never been in a relationship on Valentine's, and so I just don't intuit that Valentine's Day is a significant other day, because most of the time it's just love day lunch with me and my family, where we just talk about the things that we love each other and go around the table and give presents.
That's very cute.
Valentine's Day for me.
Yeah, that's a bit fair. Yeah.
Alrighty.
That's very cute. Either way.
Yeah. Let's bring in Valerian.
Dracaris. And yeah, the whole Valentine's Day strictly for significant others thing is a bit of a bore.
Well, hey, look, there's like
it's traditional.
It's not the same as like, oh, it's a bit of a bore that Mother's Day is specifically for mothers. Well, it's like, what else is it about? Father's Day is for dads. What else do you want? Like,
you can be romantic any day of the week, though.
Yeah, you can, but you could be a mum any day of the week. Should we get rid of Mother's Day because you should be a mum every day of the week? How dare you? How dare you only reserve it for Mother's Day? Well, no, because it's like the day where you highlight it. It's the day where you go, you know what? I've been falling behind in how, dedicated I am to this. I'm gonna refresh it. I'm gonna enforce how much I love this person. And it's just because everyone needs to kick up the butt. Maybe if we were all perfect and we were constantly consistent with our shows of affection, we wouldn't need it. But it's in the same way that we need Christmas to remind ourselves to be generous and shit, because sometimes we're not as generous as we should be. Same deal, you know? It's just
yeah.
I think it's cute.
Well, tell that to millennials.
Tell that to just cynical people everywhere.
I can't deal with Valentine's cynics. It's like, I know it's sad if you're not partaking in the Valentine's thing, but like, come on, just go, happy for you, I'm off to the pub with my girls or something. I don't know.
Is there a cynical?
Or my boys, depending on.
A cynical holiday?
I'm sure there is. It's probably called Balerian Day.
Well, I was thinking it's probably just called Saturdays.
Why Saturday in particular?
Because it's the day that all men can and be lazy. Lazy well, actually, no. Black Friday is the completely cynical holiday.
Yeah. We didn't even have Black Friday when I was a kid, and then they came up with it in the 80s and 90s or something so they could sell crap to people even more than they already do. It's like, shut up. Pardon my language. But I've never gone into Black Friday, whatever.
Well, yeah, I don't get Black Friday. I don't get Black Friday either. I benefit enormously from Black Friday because I save a lot of money. But
How do you save money? Oh, because of the deals?
Yeah, very much so, because Black Friday deals, they don't have they have half off on a lot of different computer parts, etc.
Yeah, I usually
video games, stuff like that.
Yeah, I usually get my Christmas presents way in advance, so I don't have to stress out over it. Like at the last minute.
Because when even is Black Friday? I never understand when it is, because it's only been a thing here in the UK for like the last 10 years. Because we like decided, oh look, Americans do things.
Yeah.
I never even know when it is, but I always feel like it's like, why are you only buying your Christmas presents now? What's wrong with you?
It's the day after Thanksgiving.
You see, why haven't you planned?
I mean, I'm mildly surprised you'd have it in the UK at all, because it's the day after the American Thanksgiving Day. So unless you decided to, and since everyone wants to be American now, maybe you celebrate Thanksgiving now too, on the American Day too.
We don't. What we do, I think it's because it's a thing on like online stores. So as soon as online shops like became a thing, and like Amazon is obviously worldwide, so Amazon does Black Friday and it happens to just do it everywhere, and because of that, like all of the shops on the high street adopted it too as like a way to compete. It's basically why, but we don't even understand what it is, so it's just like
I think there's also Online Monday now or something, and then there's Giving Tuesday on top of that. At least Giving Tuesday is about giving stuff. Online Mondays, I guess specifically, is that what it's called when you're buying things specifically online? It's they decide to extend.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kill it.
But yeah, buy your Christmas presents early, you nitwits. Why are you only using one paycheck to buy your Christmas presents? You dumb people.
Really? Yeah. I mean, that's why as soon as I know who I'm going to have for Christmas, I get started on it.
Gotta be creative. Gotta go. Gotta be on the lookout for
Christmas.
Sorry?
The Jurassic Period Day.
Oh. I was to say Burners Day.
So I'm not going to finish that thought because it's a little bit bad, even for me. Yeah.
Okay. Don't. Yes. If you think it's bad, God knows we're gonna have an aneurysm.
It must be like it must be like the absolute worst thing in the history of the human race if he thinks it's bad.
Anyway, we should probably
talk about Harry Potter. Maybe we should talk about Harry Potter. That's probably a good idea, right?
Indeed.
Yes,
novel concept.
Yeah. So
glad I came up with it.
So weirdly enough, 6 and 7, the Jurassic Age. I think Trip got it. Yeah. I think Trip understood.
Oh, well, you what? Oh dear.
We're talking about Harry Potter, please. I want to let the teenagers
Oh my god. Look, you fucking Americans use the word period to mean full stop in a fucking sentence, and you haven't got over that joke. Are you 12?
Well, the thing is, there's 3 meanings for the word period. We just sometimes go for the funniest one.
Look, I'm just saying that it's more understandable for a British mid-20s person to say that, because at the very least we only use it to mean period of time, or the one that you were referencing, right? So therefore it's, you know, a bit more understandable, not the most common. You guys use it in everyday grammar, you twat.
Hey, what can you
Grow
do?
up.
Well, yeah, he is 12,
That.
12 on a good day. But anyway.
I thought it was 13.
Yeah, maybe we should put him in the same class as Aviana and see who's the more grown up of the two.
I think we know
Probably,
the
yeah.
answer to that one already.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, kind of anecdotally, this movie is interesting for me because I've actually listened to Harry Potter 6 and 7 more than I've listened to any other book in the series. Though weirdly enough, I was missing the first. I was actually missing the very first disc on the Harry Potter DVD, so I missed the prologue. But I knew about the Minister.
Well, the prologue with...
the prologue with the Minister and Snape, and I have read it since then. It's just that the disc just wasn't in there when I borrowed it from a friend, and I've unfortunately never given it back. And it's been 12 years.
Oh, thief.
12 years in Azkaban.
Oh God, yes.
Indeed.
Sorry.
But I actually didn't know about... I knew about Dumbledore dying since I just randomly flipped open the end of the last book and read it. And I was like, oh, Dumbledore dies. Huh.
It wasn't from the memes then. Well, at least there's something.
Well, this was technically before memes in the internet. I believe that
that is true. Yeah.
It wasn't so much of a meme, though. I say a meme, but like the whole Dumbledore dies thing was like an IRL meme.
Thing. Like I am your father.
Kind of. It was more like a load of dickheads stood outside the shops on the night of release, having flipped ahead and found out that Dumbledore dies, going, Snape kills Dumbledore. You know, yelling at the people buying the book on like the day of release.
Yeah.
So it was like a meme that it, you know, like people. So it's sort of like it's the ultimate spoiler thing that even before the internet, people were going, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Snape kills Dumbledore. You know, so it's like the embodiment of what a spoiler is. You know.
How charming.
Yeah, I weirdly enough, I actually have never encountered book spoiler stuff that I didn't find out via Wikipedia. And I never really experienced that kind of thing ever, really.
All right.
I think the first time I got a kind of chanting kind of type was when I first went to General Conference and experienced the anti-Mormon protesters outside the conference center. Waiting to pick it up.
It always comes back to that. For some reason.
I don't know.
It always comes back to fucking Mormonism, yes.
Yeah. I know.
So always the Mormons.
I know.
This fucking place. Why am I here?
Because I give you an outlet to tease somebody who is a good sport about it.
Yes, I can abuse Mormons. That's it. That's exactly why I'm here. You're right. You're right.
So what did the anti-Mormon protesters have to do with it? Are they Death Eaters or something?
No, what I'm referring to is basically Becca is referring to people chanting Snape kills Dumbledore and kind of people trying to spoil the book. on the day of release, and I'm just like, I didn't really experience any of like crowds chanting stuff until I went to General Conference Live and saw a bunch of anti-Mormon protesters. So that kind of vibe was foreign to me for most of my life.
Fair enough.
That's
I mean,
what
I didn't
I'm talking
discover it
about.
from the people that did that. I just knew it was a thing, and because it was so like in the general. Yeah, like it was just like, you know, someone saw you reading Harry Potter, they go Snape kills Dumbledore. It's just a thing that people would say, you know, like. So
hey, spoiler for you are watching this. If Trip hasn't read the books yet or heard seen the films yet, we just spoiled the whole story for her. Oh, by the way,
Trip, I'm really sorry, but Snape kills Dumbledore.
Oh,
I know, but Harry. But no, this is the most important thing. Harry gets fucking high.
Oh yeah, he does. He does. But you know what? That was the most fun part of the video game.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that bit is so much fun.
I remember that
like
as well.
All of your spells work a million times better, and it's just like this woo
I think also the fact as well, you're invulnerable for that entire sequence as well. Like anyone who tried, it was like Crab and Goyle trying to cast spells at you. It just deflects off of you. It was like, I can't hit him.
What are you talking
so
about?
Good. The video game
adaptation.
What about the video game? Doing drugs? Is this Felix Felicis?
Yes.
Yes, it is. The Felix Felicis scene in the video game was so much fun. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, it does feel really good afterwards.
If I remember correctly. Sorry, go on.
All I said was that Harry does feel really good afterwards. Carry on.
Yeah, but it was like a first-person perspective, and I think it was like a smooth jazz. As he was walking along, or something like that. It's been ages since I played that game.
Like that game was oddly well made in certain aspects, like particularly like because you've got like the Ron in love sequence where you play as Ron, and he's like so loved up. There's like hearts popping around you, and it's like a hazy kind of filter.
I remember that.
You know, like a rom-com kind of filter, and he can't run. He'll just like stroll along, and it's really annoying because it's just like a really long sequence, but it's like it's made to make you feel as frustrated as Harry is because he's just like, fuck's sake, this man is like fucking. It's really funny.
It's a rom-com. Get it?
Ha ha. But the way they did it just made me laugh. It was really funny. But then the Felix Felicis bit is just Harry like freaking unbeatable, doing all the spells 50 times cooler. And the way that they use their camera, the camera. I can't even. It's been so long, but it was just it was great. So good.
Yeah, it was very funny as well.
That game. Oh god, this movie is so funny.
Yeah, it is very funny.
Loses in the end.
Yeah.
Voldemort loses in the end of the series.
Oh, does he? Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Neville kills the snake. Neville kills the snake. He's a badass and he's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and Snape is good.
Oh god, we're just destroying. Oh, as a complete side note, I've been listening to loads of like in the background noise while I'm working on stuff. I've been listening to like all sorts of like deep lore stuff about the oldie Harry Potter fandom from like, you know, like the early 2000s, and I discovered the phenomenon of Snape wives. I've never heard of this before, but it seems just about right for fucking Harry Potter fandomness. You don't want to know.
They're weird.
It's a whole thing. I was like, okay, what?
Yeah. And the people were into Draco too. And
well, yeah, the Snape wives thing is like a load of middle-aged women who created a pseudo cult religion about Snape. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh dear, I think I have to Google this.
It is, but it isn't. They claim, because there's like one sect of this bizarre religion where they're like, No, you are not allowed to be attracted to any man but Snape. And that includes Alan Rickman, even though all of the imagery of Snape that they use in their religion is Alan Rickman as Snape. So it's really bizarre. The deeper you go, the more bizarre it gets. And also, what the fuck am I listening to?
Wait,
who are these women?
Snape wives hobby drama? What even is that?
What are you
looking
at?
Topic here. We're really
What are you
going
looking at?
topic here.
Looks like I won't.
Christ.
Harry
my
Potter
God.
fandom married to Severus Snape on the astral plane, I guess. On the astral plane, the story of the religion of Snape wives. There was an actual religion centering on Severus Snape, who was portrayed as an eternal divine being similar to the Christian God. It had theological arguments, early schisms, and its own vows and prayers, which were all taken completely seriously by its followers, the Snapists.
The Snapists. I can't deal with the Snapist thing. It's like that is just not.
So the whole I was not expecting this.
The whole thing is the Snape wives is what other people called them, but they called themselves the Snapists, and I'm like, the fuck? That's so much worse a name.
Snapists, it's spelled just Snape plus ist. It's not the E slapped in. Snape fandom. Okay. No, we need to get to the religion part. We need to skip over to the religion stuff. Snape is a religion. They refer to themselves as Snapists, the members of the Church of Snapeism. Vows, sacraments, prayers, worshipers, and theology. Blah, 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 blah. Search Snapeism in the religion journal. Blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, come on. Tell us the actual stuff here. Theological arguments.
We're getting to the good stuff now.
Here's a vow. Here's an actual vow. A Snapist vow for their Snape weddings. I promise to be always faithful in body and mind and never love another man. I promise to love and cherish you all of my life. I promise to respect and honor you all, etc., etc., etc. I solemnly promise all of this to you, Severus Snape, my only love. These words create a strong, loving bond, which can only be broken by death. If I break the promises made or treat you not in the manner that I should, I'll make sure that I die. May all the good forces and spirits bless our love eternally. And that's just
but yeah.
Wow.
That sounds like something that middle-aged bored housewives would come up with. Sorry to be somewhat sexist against middle-aged housewives. I apologize.
To be fair, though, they were. That's what they were for the most part. Some of them were single, but actually, there's like these women weren't young. These were ladies in their 30s and up, married. Quite a few of them. There are stories of some of them talking about how their husbands were at times possessed by Snape in the act, and weird shit like that. It's really bizarre, and they all were united in hating J.K. Rowling because they hated that in the end his redemption wasn't good enough and he wasn't revealed to be the divine being that they thought he was, because this was created at the time before the last book was released. Yeah. And they were also pissed off that he died off because how, like, you know, if the book is set in 1998, and if he's like if he dies in 1998, that means he's he's dead and cannot commune with them, you know. So clearly it's wrong. Clearly J.K. Rowling is incorrect in that being the thing that happened, and he is still alive, and she's a heretic who said that he died. It's really bizarre.
Maybe he gets resurrected.
I don't know, but it's just fucking it is very bizarre. But yeah.
This is why
anyway,
I drink,
that's
why I drink. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's the whole thing.
Dearest Severus,
You're welcome.
This might be my last letter to you. Not because I stopped loving you. I can't do that ever. Not because I am too weak, or because I have found someone. You are still my light. There will never be anyone else but you. This might be the last one because I have to let you go for you and for me. Try to stop me if you do care. I dare you, Severus Snape. Stop me from letting go and tell me you notice me.
Jesus Christ.
I think
it's just like
go on that tangent for long enough.
Oh, God. Okay,
I'm very sorry for bringing it up. I'm so sorry
Christ.
for bringing it up. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
It was somewhat related, I promise.
It was. That
That's
actually
true,
was
but
related
still.
too. I mean, to be fair, that was related. So,
hey, you know, this movie is the one time Harry was, well, the one time that, put it this way, the one time the events of the story vindicate Harry for being suspicious of Snape, technically. Though obviously there's more going on, but this is it's like that moment when you get to the end of the book, you're like, so all this time he was falsely accusing Snape of stuff, and this time he was actually right. Wow,
what a revolutionary concept!
You know, it's just okay. We got there eventually, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so Perion is now a middle-aged housewife in the dress. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, blimey.
Well, I don't think that Balerion is a Snape wife, but he may speak for himself.
He recited the vow. He recited the vows in such
He's made the unbreakable. He's made the unbreakable vow.
God no.
Well, he recited the vow in such a.
I never drink. I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I drive men to drink, apparently. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's good.
Righto. So the film.
Indeed. The film.
No. No, I am not a middle-aged housewife. And women are weird.
I find that deeply offensive. I think you should apologize, Balerion. That crosses my lines. I'm just not comfortable with being on the stream with you unless you say sorry immediately.
That makes you a feminazi. I mean, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
I think you should fucking kick him from the stream for that, Dan. I think that's not acceptable. You shouldn't go around calling people feminazis without proof.
I'm oppressed now. But anyways, enough about me.
Yeah, let's.
Yes, quite enough about you. Really don't need to be reminded that we actually now have a newly recruited Snape wife on the stream, and I just really don't want to think about that.
I mean, that was rather weird of me. I should have said, "Please die, brightness." That'd be more polite.
That's much more polite. Thank you, Balerion. You're learning manners finally. Took you long enough.
Well, you know, when he learns eventually. Of course, he's used to dinosaurs, so of course we are weird to him. Well,
but I thought he had many conquests. Or are you saying, Trip, that those conquests were dinosaurs and not women?
Oh no, the lore just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
So essentially, what is happening is Balerion has a dinosexual from the Jurassic period.
No. This is hurting. This is hurting me. I can't do this. I can't. I'm so glad I'm doing a drawing at the same time of this. It's just keeping me sane.
This is okay. Embarrassing now. But anyway.
Okay, so let's talk Harry Potter 6. the movie. So they've cut out a lot from the novel.
They have. However, I think
works still.
I think it works better than movie 5. Movie 5 feels a little bit choppy with what it cut out, whereas this one seems to have learnt from its mistakes, and it's quite streamlined. And all of the things that matter are in it, pretty much. It's just that it's kind of like slimmed down.
Yeah, and there are some choices in terms of what they cut that might not be of the best, because they cut out a lot of the Voldemort stuff, which
that is the one thing.
But then they kept most of the Quidditch. If it had been me, I've left the Quidditch, but maybe at 5 minutes, and kept a little more of the Voldemort.
You could have balanced that, yeah. You could have balanced that. I think the Quidditch stuff was important because it was important to Ron's character arc, and I think thematically it was really important to keep the lightheartedness of this book in the movie, because, you know, the 2 movies that we get next are like the movies when everything gets just mega dark, and we needed that last breath of happiness before we descended. You know what I mean? Like, we needed the lightness of the kind of rom-comness and the laughter in order to, you know, and obviously the Quidditch is a big part of that, because that's Ron's, like, building himself into, you know, from being a bit bumbling, and, you know, the whole thing with Hermione and Lavender and that, you know, you couldn't have done that without that. Yeah, 1-1. You know, if you didn't have the Quidditch scenes, then you wouldn't have had the reason for that character arc to happen, and that is an important part of the book, and I'm really glad Ron gets it, because I love Ron. Ron's used as a fucking punching bag this entire movie series, because I don't know, that's the one thing, that's one of the few things I have a real gripe with this movie series. It's like the treatment of Ron and you know, and that's partly to do with how they changed Harry and Hermione for the movies, but yeah, like,
yeah, Harry and Hermione are very much more shippy in the movies than they are in the book.
Yeah, well, Harry and Hermione, so Hermione's made more you know, what's the word, conventionally attractive, and she's made far more competent, and she gets to steal the few, and she still, yeah, well, she already had that, but she was a nerdy little awkward girl in the books, and they basically like made her seem more socially acceptable, and they took the few lines that Ron had that were actually useful to the plot and intelligent and gave them to Hermione, because they were like, he's not intelligent enough to say something clever, are you kidding me? And they made him just a comic relief, which would have been okay if they'd kept Harry the same. But what they did is take away Harry's sense of humor. So now Ron's the only one with a sense of humor. And so it was that there was a double act of Harry and Ron was sometimes clever, and Hermione was a bit too awkward to always be right all the time, which made them a perfect little trio, and it kind of got unbalanced with the movies.
It's easy to get confused about Ron, yeah.
It basically has the result of, like, mostly affecting Ron. And poor Ron, I love him. Bless his heart. He gets too much hate. I love him. And he needed this movie. And so I think the Quidditch was worth keeping in. But I do think the way that they cut down the Horcrux memories was very odd, because it worked to some degree, but I really think it affects the last movie because we don't get the Hufflepuff Cup one, and you know, it's like, it means that they don't know that they're looking for the Hufflepuff's Cup, and that's not helpful, you know, like, because the whole thing is that the deduction that they need to find that is a bit random in the last movies. And then in the books, because they found Hufflepuff's Cup and that was one of them, it was like, well, it's not Gryffindor's sword because that's a weapon to kill him. So maybe it's something from Ravenclaw. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. But without, like, the pattern of Slytherin and Hufflepuff, then you don't have any reason to think there was something of Ravenclaw's. You know what I mean? Like, it does mess that up.
There's also no deductive reasoning on what the Horcruxes are in the movie, where they talk about how it's part of Voldemort's vanity that he is specifically targeting magical objects, or at least artifacts of Hogwarts / have great meaning. Like the diary is proof that he is the heir of Slytherin.
The gold ring is his magical inheritance.
And Nagini is specifically is a snake because it enhances his mystique, and it's part of the whole motif.
Yeah, and it's also that it's like he's got so many Horcruxes now that it's like this hubris of like, you know, I can't be killed, therefore why not make a living creature a Horcrux? Which is a risky thing to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but yeah, there is like, you know, side effects of what they change. I think it just may well have been like you could have shaved off a few scenes here and there, and you could have just that would have given you time. But I never understand the whole cutting things for time thing. No, it's not like every movie is exactly the same length. Like, why? It's like I don't really buy that argument a lot of the time. It's like these movies are all different lengths. It's not like you have to be under 90 minutes or something. Like, it's like. I don't see why you couldn't have had. Huh?
Yeah. How long is it?
I know. I just threw out that number because that sounded like something that old Hollywood would have done. But like, you know, there is no number of time that you have to be under. I don't see why having an extra 5-minute scene like ruins anything. You know, you know what I mean. And I can see why you might cut for pacing, but I don't see why it wouldn't have made sense to have another that you wouldn't have been able to fit in another Horcrux scene. I don't see why.
How long is the film? It's just 2 hours?
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah,
2 hours.
Yeah, you could easily have another scene or two of that.
Yeah, it's like the whole cut for time thing. I only understand if it's TV, because TV has like, you know, certain length spots.
So it's 2.5 hours, including credits.
Oh, okay, but still.
Yeah, and it adds some annoying plot holes later that they kind of have to retcon, like with Harry Potter being able to sense Horcruxes, which was a thing they introduced in the last movie. Because they didn't have any of the setup for the previous Horcruxes. So it created some problemitos, to say the least. And
they did.
So when they were producing these films, they didn't know what was going to happen. The producers, directors, and writers and stuff didn't know what J.K. Rowling had planned for the end of the series, did they?
They knew what
know
was
everything.
They knew what was in the books at the time. Obviously, this movie was made after the last book came out, so at that point they had all the information. I know that there was a couple of things. I mean, like Alan Rickman knew what the ending for Snape was from the beginning, but he didn't tell anyone because J.K. Rowling made him promise. But that's why his performance is fucking like rock solid from start to end, because he knows exactly what kind of character to play for the movie all the way through. But
I guess you say he made the unbreakable vow.
I was thinking he made just a regular blood oath.
Jim.
Oh dear.
That looks more given the context.
Harry made him put an actual dark mark on his skull because not Harry. J.K. Rowling is actually Voldemort.
Shocking.
Voldemort doesn't care about charities like J.K. Rowling does.
Would you say that he doesn't care about parodies, and therefore she's not Voldemort because she cares about parodies and Voldemort doesn't?
About charities.
Oh, charities! I was going to say. I didn't realize that J.K. Rowling got worked up about parodies. I'm a little nervous now.
Yeah, Codex, you're being bullied in Tarek 7 right now, just so you know.
Could be worse. I've been through worse.
Just thought I'd let you know. There's bullying going on.
I've been through worse.
Anyway,
So,
I can't remember. I was reading. Sorry.
Other things of importance. We've mentioned the major cuts are Voldemort's backstory, since this is the movie that fills out Voldemort as a character and shows who exactly this guy is. And it's very much, he is a person who was not raised well, was born under the circumstances of date rape.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. His mom fed his dad love potions until finally she decided not to. And as soon as he stopped eating the love potion, he came to himself, a la the prodigal son, and ran back to his family, got married, and never thought anything of her until his psychopathic son came calling and murdered him.
I hate it when that happens. What was I going to say?
Yeah, I hate. Yeah, you know. I'm sure it's happened to Balerion multiple times. He's got lots of psychopathic sons.
Yeah, it's annoying, I can tell you. But I was going to say that's actually germane. There was one really small change in the language for the first section with Voldemort at the orphanage, where in the book he says, "I can make bad things happen to people who annoy me," and in the film he says, "I can make bad things happen to people who are mean to me." It's just a slight, subtle change there, which I don't know if that's how significant that is, but
what was the original? Sorry.
He's more psychopathic in the book as opposed to the film. I think is what you're saying. Is that right?
I just didn't catch what you said. The first.
Becca, Balerion first.
I guess that's what it is. I mean, that's a theory as to why it's different. I'm noting that it is different. That seems a reasonable theory as to why he's slightly more psychopathic in the books.
It's only that you cut out when you said what the original bit in the books was, and I haven't read it in ages, so I just didn't hear what you said.
Oh, okay. He said that I can make bad things happen to people who annoy me.
Oh, okay. That yeah, I can see what you mean. Sorry, I was like, I don't know what you were saying.
Yeah, who annoy me. That is a bit of a difference. I mean, if they're mean to you, then there's
it's vigilantism as opposed to psychopathic sadism.
Yeah.
Whereas the second one,
but, you know.
Whereas the second one just sounds like something Balerion would say.
I can make
bad things happen. Oh no, people who annoy me. Sorry, the first one sounds like something you would say. Sorry, the more psychopathic one.
I can make bad things happen to people who annoy me, Bratlord.
Oh no!
I've suffered for my. I feel I've suffered for my sins by watching Willow. and Rings of Power.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
No.
I've also.
Whereas.
Well.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. There was no punchline to that one.
Huh.
I thought you sounded like you were continuing talking.
He's probably going to mention a few other ones.
Whereas I can make bad things to happen to people that are mean to me is the sort of thing that I say to Tarek.
So you're Voldemort, confirmed?
Well, you're more psychopath. You're a more psychopathic Voldemort, so I don't know what you're saying.
No, she's the lovable Voldemort right here.
I'm lovable Voldemort. You're the psychopath one.
Fair enough.
Adorable. I love it.
Adorable Very Voldemort. Adorable. I don't think. I feel like Voldemort is the least adorable thing that you could possibly call adorable. I think Lucifer's probably more adorable than fucking Voldemort. You know,
considering
probably
the
got
fact that
cuddly feathery wings. Sorry.
Especially considering that Tom Ellis plays Voldemort. Well, no, not Voldemort. Lucifer in the TV show Lucifer, and he's actually pretty adorable. Yeah. Yeah, that's
every
not
time
inaccurate.
Every time I see his face. So the first thing I ever saw him in, he was a side character in a sitcom you definitely haven't heard of called Miranda, which is about like a middle-aged woman who the whole joke is she's very, very tall and clumsy, and she has a very, very short friend called Stevie. And he is the sexy love interest that works as a chef in the local restaurant called Gary, and Miranda's just in love with him, and that's the whole joke. And it is a great show. It's really funny. But it's like the target audience is middle-aged women. And it's really funny that somehow he went from being like eye candy in a comedy show for middle-aged women to ending up as like
eye candy as the devil.
Like in a leading like freaking, is it an Amazon show or a Netflix show?
It was originally Lifetime, and then it became Netflix, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, I think it was on Amazon for us originally, but yeah, like he's a lead in a fucking Netflix show, and it's like, how did you get there? How did Gary get there? Gary, how did you tell us your secret?
Well, because Tom Ellis is a Chad, and he's a really good actor.
No, I have a better one.
He stole his soul from the devil. You have to understand. You have to understand the level of character he was playing in Miranda was like, hello. I'm really confused by this bizarre shit, but I'm here. That's what happened. Whenever he appeared, the only thing he didn't have a personality. He just like smiled along and did the end of the episode dance. Like there's nothing. He didn't. The whole point was he didn't have a character. Right? Like,
oh wow! So
like
he's just eye candy essentially.
He's literally just eye candy.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's legit just like he's like Chris Hemsworth in Ghostbusters 2016, but done well.
Except done better, yes. That is fair, but to be fair, done better.
Yeah, it's not disrespectful. It's just that he happens to not have a character because he's not the main character. I genuinely didn't know he could act until he showed up in Merlin. Like, I didn't assume that he could act because he was in Merlin for a season. He was Senred.
Yeah,
he was good with the long hair. Anyway.
Harry Potter. That's better teenage Merlin.
So yeah, they also skipped a bit at the beginning with the Dursleys too. They skipped that bit out. They cut that.
Yeah, they kind of always skip though. They decided to skip that until movie 7, and even like a decent book only. There actually was a deleted scene where Harry says goodbye to the Dursleys, specifically Aunt Petunia.
Yeah,
and it's actually a good scene in the deleted scene. but they decided to cut it for time, which is odd because of just you have the time, you could have put it in there.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was cut for time. I mean, we're talking like the next movie now, but like I don't know whether it was cut for time, but for pacing in that case. I don't agree with it, but I think possibly that you know, in that the pacing of the way that they did that opening wasn't stop-start. It was very like a bit montagey, and you would break the montage if you started having those scenes with Dudley and Petunia. So I can see why they didn't do it. It makes me it makes me sad they didn't do it, because I mean the Dudley scene in the book is like one of the most valuable scenes in the entire book, because it's like
Dudley has an arc.
I know, yeah, and it's just the whole book is like about like discovering the humanity of many characters, and Dudley's one of them, and he's like the first one that you go shit, he's a human being.
From a little shit to a decent bloke, you want to spend time at the pub.
Yeah, apparently, what was it? The out of story confirmation from J.K. Rowling was that they remained on Christmas card terms for the rest of their lives. So they didn't really meet up particularly, but they sent each other a Christmas card every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so Dudley actually, he actually, it turns out to be a good thing he got attacked by a Dementor.
Yeah,
they sucked out the evil out of him.
It gave him a lobotomy, which made him a better person.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, on film number 6, meanwhile,
I do think what they do translate from the book, they do very, very well. Like, I think that the Horace Slughorn conversation in the movie is actually really well done.
The actor who played Slughorn is just perfect. You could not ask for a better
amazing.
actor.
He's so good.
Yeah, of course, he's Diggory Kirk.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hate when you do that. It's so fucking annoying.
I know his name is Jim Broadbent, but he's always going to be Diggory Kirk to me.
I can't deal with it. You need to watch the first season of Blackadder. He turns up in that as the husband of Miriam Margolyes' character, which is really bizarre. It's 2 Harry Potter actors turning up in an 80s sitcom. And
Miriam Margolyes?
Miriam Margolyes plays Professor Sprout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her to bits. She plays, because she can speak like 6 languages or something. She's an incredibly intelligent lady. And she plays a Spanish queen or princess or something. I'm pretty sure she's speaking Spanish the entire time. Pretty sure. And he's like her husband translating or something. I can't remember the actual. He might not be a husband. I'm pretty sure he is though. And it's like the subtitles of what she's actually saying, and then he's just like, it's good. Trust me. The first series of Blackadder is a bit bizarre, but there's some great moments. And Jim Broadbent's fucking Miriam Margolyes' husband.
So I guess we'll just count this as an alternative timeline where Professor Sprout and Horace Slughorn got married.
Got married and went back in time to medieval England, and hung out.
Or maybe it's their ancestors, and they just had diverging timelines or something, diverging descendant lines.
They got a time turner as a wedding gift.
Well, considering that the concept of the first series of Blackadder is a what if timeline, basically, where the princes in the tower were never locked up in the tower. So Edward the Fifth? Yeah, Edward V became king instead of dying in the tower under Richard III, and the first Edmund Blackadder is his younger brother. So, and that's the whole concept. So it's a king that never was a king, basically, in the timeline. So hey, It is an alternate timeline. Haha.
I wrote something in my diary today. One word. Buggered.
Indeed.
Anyway,
so
funny.
other things that we should discuss.
Slughorn. I don't know if Slughorn in the film is better than the books, but I think I kind of like him a little better than the books.
He's less pompous in the books, and he's more crumpled in the film. He's more melancholic, I think,
which makes
the
sense
best way of
because
putting it.
Yeah, which makes sense because he's the one who gave Tom the idea of the Horcrux essentially, sorry.
I don't think that he gave him the idea. He already knew about it. He had.
Direction. I do apologize, but yeah.
Well, he knew about it in terms of making it because Hermione finds secrets of the Darkest Art in the restricted section, and
because in the books, as I recall, she doesn't find anything in the library about Horcruxes.
That's in book 7 that she talks about finding something because Dumbledore removed anything related to Horcruxes from the library.
Makes sense.
And so you are correct. She searches in book 6 and doesn't find it, but I believe it's after Dumbledore died that she was able to find some stuff. I don't know. I can't remember how. I just remember that she was able to find some stuff. So and also you see Slughorn eating some candied fruit, and it's because of. It's actually theorized that he was dosed those treats that he was giving Slughorn were dosed with Veritaserum, the truth potion. So it wasn't totally Slughorn's fault. I don't know if this is inference or something J.K. Rowling really revealed later.
I think they imply that in more or less in the film, but yeah.
He did give him a treat in those treats in the book, but whether or not it's Veritaserum is kind of kept ambiguous. But I think that for how free Slughorn is being about something really dark, I think that Veritaserum does check out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially with how guilty he feels that he talked about it and how much he didn't want to talk about it.
Like in the book.
Yeah.
Even in the book, he is legit ashamed and has altered his memory to forget it. It actually psychologically kind of comes, I guess, well, it checks out with certain roofie victim mentality. Trauma reactivity, especially in terms of he feels like he was the guy who inspired Voldemort to make that choice, and even if he might have been powerless to do it, he still feels responsible. But there's still that element of powerlessness that might have happened, because I think that he would have somewhat noticed, maybe even after the fact, oh, this was Veritaserum, or maybe he just didn't notice, or maybe he just doesn't and still didn't notice.
Oh, was there Veritaserum involved too?
There might have been.
It's possible.
Since he didn't want to talk about it, and we know for sure that Voldemort gave him some of his favorite treat. I think it was some kind of candied lemon or something.
Okay.
And he specifically said, "Thank you, Tom. You know I love these." And since Veritaserum is undetectable. But I think its effects I don't know if its effects are necessarily as its effects are definitely not undetectable since it acts like a truth serum.
That's what it basically is. That's what it basically means. The Veritas part means truth in Latin, so yeah.
So
Voldemort, I mean, whatever his name is, Tom Riddle already knew that Horcruxes existed before Slughorn told him, because he's asking him about them. So I think he must have had some idea, some inkling as to what they were. Otherwise, why would he bother to ask if it was just some random word?
Yeah.
No, he was looking for the theoretical.
He's pushing to. Yeah.
He wants to find out actually how to do it. That's what.
I don't know about how to do it.
Or
I think
at least to.
I think he's looking for
he wants to do it exactly.
I think he was more looking for the theoretical. Dumbledore talks about it in that he says that it was more of not about the making of the Horcrux. It was the theoretical bit of the 7-part soul that he was after.
Yeah,
he knew that because he was specifically targeting Slughorn because he knows that how much Slughorn likes him and how genial he is.
Yeah. However, it's not an abstract. Oh, this is just it. I'm just interested in this, the way I might be interested in some random linguistic or historical fact.
Or kind of me with just random literary stuff like obscure books.
Yeah, there's a practical purpose behind the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very much he wants to figure out. It's the 7-part soul that he wants to figure out. Since Secrets of the Darkest Art apparently gives explicit details on how to make a Horcrux, and apparently it's very disturbing, as we've already mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because what Voldemort's kind of like his mode, what he's after isn't just to do the Horcrux thing. He wants to do something some people have never done. It's not something he can look up. Oh, if you wanted to do it multiple times, is that a thing? And it's not really something that's discussed in there because even all of these dark people have never got that far. So
they wouldn't go that crazy.
So he needs to talk to someone who understands it in order to understand the mechanics enough to see if he's able to do that. Because the likelihood at this point, because I believe this is after the death of Moaning Myrtle, so it's after the creation of his first Horcrux.
Yeah.
So he's already got a Horcrux at this point. So he's not asking how to make one. He's asking how to, or whether he can, what he plans to do is possible and or dangerous or going to kill him or what, you know what I mean? He's yeah. Yeah.
I actually agree with Ego
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Ego actually works for Slughorn because he is a little bit egotistical. He's kind of the best of Slytherin in a lot of ways, where he's kind of vain, he's likes his comfort, but fundamentally he's not a bad chap. He's just kind of a
strong along kind of guy.
He's a snob.
Yeah, he's a bit of a snob, but he's not a racist snob.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's that much of a snob, actually, since
he's more. He's attracted to. He's attracted to power. He's attracted to.
It's less about the. It's more about the prestige rather than kind of blood purity type stuff. And if you don't meet his criteria for success rate likelihood, you're not going to be in his club more than you don't have X amount of genetic code of wizard in your body.
Yeah, I mean that's in Hermione
and Harry's mom.
And Harry's mom too. Yes.
Yeah.
So So he's not really prejudiced. Yeah, I think he's an elitist, but he's kind of a talent elitist or fame elitist.
Yeah, he likes the idea of collecting influence, collecting connections. Yeah, like
yeah,
you know, like it's an I find him a fascinating character, to be honest. He's a very interesting addition to the story.
And his introduction in the book and in the film is pretty much pitch perfect.
Oh yeah.
Like,
he disguises himself as a sofa. Come on, it's fucking amazing.
I would have liked what he says.
It's kind of funny that he put it as dragon's blood is the thing that gives him away, because he puts him up there, and then they collect the dragon's blood off of it because he's like, I that's really expensive. Gandalf, can we get that back?
Gandalf?
Yeah, he really says,
fucking Gandalf.
Can we get that back?
Things. He even says, I would have liked to have the set at one point. He was talking with a bunch of people. He got a whole bunch of people from one family or whatever. Well, I missed this one. I would have liked to have the entire set, you know.
Yeah, it's like a kid with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's like a kid with Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And to be fair, in this film, Dumbledore is an absolute mad lad in this one. It's like, especially when he does reparo on the entire house, and it's like, that was fun.
Dumbledore is fucking comedy gold in this movie. Can we just
absolutely?
Oh my god, he's just like proper bumble old man. He's just like, he's really got that. You know how in the books Dumbledore's described as like this wise old man with a twinkle in his eye, you know, twinkle of mischief.
Yeah.
You know? We've got that twinkle of mischief full and like on a roll in this movie. It's great. I love it so much.
Oh, especially the serious part as well. We're in the cave, I believe, as well, where he's forced to drink the potion and all that. Get the Horcrux.
Yeah. Well, like, this is where I go, like, look, all you people that went on and on and on about Michael Gambon not being as good as Richard Harris, the people had a meltdown. It's like, look, Richard Harris died, they had to replace him with someone, and Michael Gambon's a bloody good actor. Shut the hell up.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's a really good actor, I agree.
He's just he is very different to Richard Harris, but
he
I
fits
don't
the
think
book
Richard
Dumbledore
Harris
a little bit more.
Yeah, Richard Harris was way too straight played. Like, I don't think he would have been able to do like the quirkiness nearly as well.
Well,
like,
maybe,
you know,
we don't know.
And we don't know, but he was a wonderful actor, but not in the same way as Michael Gambon. I think Michael Gambon's much better casting. You know, and it is not a knock against Richard Harris. It's just that Richard Harris is a different kind of actor. You know, like. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I am kind of. I did kind of grow an appreciation for Richard Harris later when I, on top of him playing Dumbledore, when I saw him as Abbe Faria in The Count of Monte Cristo.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was, that's pretty much one of the best book to movie adaptations I've ever seen, where it changes the book, but it changes it in a way that's actually okay. Though it does change thematically the story from Revenge is Bad to Revenge is Bad, but it still kind of absolves Edmond of a lot of his guilt. By making his atrocities less bad. Which is very much not the theme of the book. I'd be interested to watch that one, since it's a fun movie and it's a really good book. And I'd be interested to compare and contrast, especially with the Valerian.
Oh yeah, that'll be a riot.
Yeah, since that's a classic one that should be read, and that I have actually read. I did read Les Mis most of it, and then I gave up because I was just like, I hate the narrator, and I hate the narrator reading this, and I hate the tangents that this book is going on. I should have gotten the abridged.
And live there.
The one I got, I think the one I got was
Do you
abridged.
hear the people singing the songs of angry men? Just go and see the musical, Dan.
I actually have seen the musical multiple times. I do love the musical. The musical's great.
I haven't actually. I've seen the movie, which is not the best mixed, but I do love the music, and it's not one I've been able to get to see. You know, I want to see it someday though. My mom's seen it twice. Yeah,
I got to see it in the Shakespeare Festival at Cedar City, which is actually a very high quality production. But yeah, they have it every year. It's awesome. They have multiple different plays, and it's pretty much the best portrayals of almost any Shakespeare I've seen outside of Britain, and most likely because you actually have a lot of actors who either go into film or have been in films on the stage in Britain, as opposed to us.
The drama system in Britain basically puts you through theatre before you get anywhere near the screen. You can go straight into TV, but usually you go straight into TV through like working in the soaps. So it's a different like class of people, you know. But you know, most of our prestigious actors were Royal Shakespeare Company, because it's just like that's where you go if you want to be a famous actor. You go to the Royal Shakespeare Company. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. That explains so much.
I do love reality TV. Honestly, the show. No, really. Like, I love watching Netflix reality TV, and I'm actually watching the Avengers of reality TV called The Perfect Match, where singles from every single Netflix dating reality show or just reality show in general are coming together for a dating compatibility show.
There is something severely wrong with you. Like, severely wrong with you.
What are you with me?
What the hell?
Yeah, but reality TV here is bloody atrocious here. Let's be frank about that.
And honestly, like, I am more excited to watch the next 4 episodes of this show of The Perfect Match and stuff like Too Hot to Handle than I am for anything with The Mandalorian or other TV shows that are coming out this year or Wheel of Time.
BBC used to be pretty good.
It did. And then I don't know what happened.
I
don't know what happened. I have no idea.
Shit happened. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Other things.
At least very good.
I think that mostly we've covered everything since got the Felix Felicis. I think though I do like the addition of the goldfish. I can't remember his name.
Goldfish?
So what happened was
Lily gave him.
Yeah, Lily apparently gave him a goldfish as a gift. And on the day she died, it died.
Oh.
And that's not in the book. That's a movie only edition, but it actually is really, really touching. And Jim Broadbent plays it extremely well. He's very resistant, but it's kind of an ego thing. Whereas here, he seems generally torn up about Lily dying, and more so than about anything else. And I think that's a neat change that was made.
Yeah, I like that, and it gives it like kind of a human quality to like the whole collecting these people. It's like he likes to be surrounded by these people, but he creates connections to them. You know, he's not like completely cynical about it. You know, he actually
loves them.
Yeah, and I think this was probably at this point when Rowling was writing it. She got to a point where she realized, like, because one of the big flaws of the Harry Potter series is, of course, the weirdness of the Slytherin house. Like, the Slytherin house is bizarre, right? It's
racist house. Let's be frank.
Yeah, for that way.
Well, considering that the attributes supposedly of the Slytherin house are like ambition, you know, and somewhat ruthlessness maybe, but you know, surely it would just mean like it'd be full of all the career bitches and shit, you know, like
pretty much, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if in a realistic world, it would be the career bitches, maybe a few psychopaths, but like it wouldn't be that bad. It would just be a little bit more of the intensity house. You'd be like, okay.
Well, there's also the aspect of the pure blood, where at one point the hat says that he would only take those whose blood was purest, or something to that effect. So that's a little bit off. That aspect of it makes it a little teeny tiny bit the eugenic or.
Yeah, but it's funny. The weird part about that is that it's like every other house is like attribute based, and the attributes of Slytherin are quite universal in the same ways that the rest are, in terms of like, you know, it is a reasonable dividing up of people, these 4 houses, right? It's the things that you aspire to. If you aspire to you know, making yourself greater in the world, or you just aspire to be brave, or you aspire to work hard, or you aspire to have all the knowledge, those are the 4 things, right? And those are the 4 things that the houses represent. And it's just like, I probably wouldn't like the Slytherins, but they would be normal humans, and they would be different stripes of people, you know. And it's weird how they are, and it's interesting that kind of Rowling seems to have caught up by this book of like that weird mistake she made and that weird box she put them in, and so she's like humanized a Slytherin for the first time in this book, you know. And you also get the humanization of Draco, and of course, you know, I know there's Snape as well, but like she starts to humanize her Slytherin characters in this book, and it's a little bit late, but it does make him one of the most interesting characters, you know.
Yeah, it's sort of weird. There are like 2, maybe 3 good Slytherins: Slughorn, Snape, and maybe Phineas Nigellus is also okay.
Phineas. Well, I think like Regulus Arcturus Black. I don't think
that's
Phineas.
Right.
Phineas Nigellus is a prat.
Isn't he the headmaster in Hogwarts Legacy?
He's the sarcastic one, but he's not evil.
He's not evil. He's a eugenics guy.
Whereas all the kids are Slytherins are pretty much bad. Like
bad seeds, yeah, like Crabbe and Goyle.
Like none of them is I don't think any of them is good. Not even Malfoy, after he sort of turns less bad.
Yeah, like Malfoy's like a complex character, but that would be not a problem in itself if Slytherin was like a house that was treated like as the rest were, you know, and the rest were like
decent human beings.
They were fleshed out to a degree. You obviously had your Pettigrew, the bad Gryffindor. You had you had what's his face? Quirrell was the bad Ravenclaw. And then you had a few bitchy Ravenclaws like, you know, Marietta Edgecombe. And Cho Chang kind of by extension, but and then you had Zachariah Smith from Hufflepuff, you know. So you had, and there was a few bitchy Hufflepuffs actually, which was kind of funny because the whole point is like, if of all the houses, the one house not to have a bitchy person would be Hufflepuff, really, because the whole point of Hufflepuff is they value friendship and hard work and loyalty. So why would you be a bitch if you were in Hufflepuff? That, like, surely put that in the Ravenclaw and the Slytherin camp, and maybe the Gryffindor one, right? Those 3 houses can have bitches. But like Hufflepuff should be the ones that have got your back, right? Surely. But so that's a bit of a weird one too, but you know. Hey, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a Hufflepuff defender, I don't know if you noticed.
It was completely unobvious. I don't know how you concealed it.
Look, I'm like that I'm Team Neville. I'm like that person that straddles between Hufflepuff and Gryffindor, you know, like that's the best place to be, in my opinion. You know,
I thought you
hardworking. Huh?
I thought the best place to strata was Tarek.
No.
Oh, that was the lowest fucking blow you could have gone. But I should have expected that. Anyway.
But
goddamn.
I mean, you're correct, but either way.
Gryffindor kind of annoying.
What was that, Valerian? Sorry.
If I'm perfectly honest, I think that Gryffindor sometimes annoys me. It's like
Gryffindor. Well, Gryffindor is in the purest sense of it, Gryffindor is the house. It's the house of bravery. That's their core thing. So, like, aspiring to be brave is a really good thing. However, the side effect is you get arrogant prats out of it, right? And so if the way to not be that is to be the person that was like the Sorting Hat's going, do I put you in Hufflepuff or Gryffindor? Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, because Hufflepuff are not annoying arrogant prats because their whole thing is like kind of being humble, basically. So if you're humble but aspire to be brave, then that's the best place for you, right? That's the ultimate person.
Yeah.
If if you value hard work and value friendship and loyalty, but also believe in being hardworking and bold, you're gonna go far. You're gonna be a Neville, and the Nevilles are the best people in this world.
And Neville probably. I'm guessing Neville was one where the house was thinking of putting in Hufflepuff at one point. I'm just a suspicion.
Yes, the Hat was very convinced to put him in Hufflepuff, but then but wasn't sure and sat there for ages and finally put him in Gryffindor.
Neville is the Uber Chad.
Because I was explaining this to someone else before the other day. Like, the whole thing with the Sorting Hat is not that it might weigh up which house you have the most what's the word? Most characteristics of, but ultimately it does matter what you're like as a person. But what matters more is which of your attributes you aspire to be more of. So if you're a little bit of a scaredy cat, but you really want to be brave, you're a Gryffindor, right? If you're a little bit flaky, but you really, really want to be loyal and value friendships, then you're a Hufflepuff. If you're, like,
snarky.
I don't know how. What?
Snarky.
Huh? That wasn't where I was going. But
we'll go with that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you're snarky, you go in the snarky house. Yes, that's where that's where Dunn goes. I don't know which house it is. It's probably a house we just hit him in.
I would probably be in Slytherin. Full disclosure.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm not quite brainy enough to be Ravenclaw. I'm not like.
You don't have to be brainy to be
different. I'm aggressive in a different way.
Oh, you're a complete coward. You're not a Gryffindor.
Complete coward.
I will say though, you don't have to be brainy to be a Ravenclaw. You just have to have a thirst for knowledge. That's the whole point. You have to desire knowledge. So
I love that I'm the cowardly lion in this group. That's actually really funny.
He's in the smug house. Whichever house the smug house is.
That is Slytherin, yes.
Yeah.
I'm in asshole house. Let's go with that.
Tarek was very proud of himself that he ended up in Gryffindor, which hey, he was like, yes.
Adorable.
And to be fair, his fatal flaw is being an arrogant piece of shit. So it all checks out. All checks out.
That's very
Love you, sweetie.
Aww.
Most of the time, you're just a brave lion.
But basically, he's James Potter.
Well, in some cases, he is the lion.
So do you call him call him my Lion of Tarek sometimes?
No,
no, better. That's it. Aslan.
Oh,
No!
I really don't ever want to call him Aslan. You need to take that the fuck back, Codex. Okay?
I will not. You have to make me.
Codex. I'm gonna make it law that people just call you Noble from now on if you don't
That's
back
fair.
off.
like I care to begin with.
Someone's getting an attitude. Oh.
Okay. Let me see.
The
Other
houses.
things.
Characteristics of the houses. Oh yeah, there's an element of free will. That's what I was going to say. So the hat recognizes your free will and gives you the right to choose the house. The hat won't choose you for a house if you don't want to be in that house.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's where the aspiration thing comes from. The choosing. At first, it was like, oh, you just get to pick the cool one, and it's like it's not quite that. It's you choose where you belong because you choose what you want to be, and if you want to be what that house embodies. So if you want to be a Gryffindor, you want to be brave, you want to be bold, and daring, right? Then that's where you want to be. You might not be there yet, but that is obviously a part of your personality. And in the same way, if you want to be Ravenclaw, you want to have you want to thirst for knowledge. You want to, you know what I mean. If you want to be Hufflepuff, you know what I mean. Like it's the reason why it takes your choice into account is because it takes your choice of where you want to go and what you want to be like. So, obviously, 11-year-olds aren't quite that deep, but either way.
Yeah. So it's kind of annoying. Also, we've mentioned it before. And we will mention it again, but it's kind of annoying that not like all of the Slytherin kids leave. Like, is it the 7th or 8th? It must be the 8th film.
That's 7th book, 8th film.
Yeah,
they all leave and join the Death Eaters. I think
they all like leave, and it's like, come on, couldn't you have like a couple of rebel kids who are like, no, I don't want to get in this.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true.
I don't want to be on Voldemort's sword. No, thank you. Especially since at the end, Harry's like, oh, Slytherins aren't all bad. Well, they weren't all bad. Maybe the grown-up ones aren't all bad.
True. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
The kids are kind of suck.
The Noble twins.
It proves that the younger generation is ruining civilization.
I think I'm smarter Noble, to be fair. And well managed.
I'll give you I because I'm trying to be kind. I will say that yes, you are more well mannered. That is true because you're British and you guys actually teach manners, unlike the American public health and American public school system.
Yeah, American public school system teaches you how to be a bleep and a bully, or at least it did.
That and I can write.
It still it still does. It still does. I have teenage sisters who can attest to the fact that it is absolutely evil.
Good. That's how it ought to be.
And to be fair, at least I can actually write compared to Noble. To be fair.
Well, he's a novice. It's fine.
Yeah, true. But still,
he's just barely started. It's not his thing. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Don't be a kid anyway.
Yeah. So let's not. It's fine to use Movie Bob as a punching bag, but let's be kind to Noble. Noble, he can actually repair things. Movie Bob is always going to be a psychotic nut job.
Okay, that is actually that. Okay, that is fair. That is fair. That is true.
Yeah. Movie Bob is always going to be an evil prick. That is always how he's going, and a creep. That is always going to be the case.
Yes.
The bit where they attacked the Burrow, was that in this film or the 7th?
That was in this film. They added a bit where they have a little bit of action where the Death Eaters attack the Burrow, including Fenrir Greyback. And Fenrir Greyback is one of those characters that is hard done by in the movies. and that's fine. But oh yeah, Movie Bob's evil. I am fully convinced that man is as close to evil as you can get with Bob Williams being totally ineffective and ineffectual. But
what just happened?
She's surprised that I called somebody a prick.
Yeah.
Why? You bizarre Mormon person who steals our culturally appropriates on British culture because you can use our insults because they're better? Question mark.
Yeah.
God. Get out of my culture, you prick.
Yeah, and I also like using the word sod, odd, and wanker as opposed to other swear words.
Well, you know what? You should get rid of. I will only respect you if you start from now on insulting everyone you meet by calling them a bellend. Oh, that would be quite funny.
I sometimes do, yeah. Actually.
Oh God, I feel like you a bellend. I feel like you cannot.
I think I know what exactly what you're calling on. It's. I think I know exactly.
Yes, you can figure that out. But point being, that's that's probably the most very British insult that you could probably get. So oh, you bellend, you're such a bellend. What a wanker.
You're such a snakehead.
Yeah. Oh, snakehead is obviously the most, superior of all the insults.
Yeah.
Like,
Red
you're not.
Now he's a British middle-aged housewife.
Oh God. Oh dear. Oh God.
Perfect.
Oh no. Next thing you know, he'll have moved down the road, and I'll be like, okay, fuck off. Stop.
Yeah, I'll be wearing a dress.
Oh
no. You'll be getting getting fashion sense tips from Aspiring.
Are you going to be joining the Snoopers?
Hey, why not go the whole hog and go nuts?
I mean, if you're going to be
doing the
have fun doing it.
If I'm going to go nuts, might as well go full nuts.
Yeah.
But
have fun being a middle-aged housewife.
Oh dear.
Yes, c'est la vie.
Well.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Because it is for somebody.
Oh God!
So basically, you want me to pull an Austin Powers? Is that what you want me to do?
Kill it.
Look, you have fun with that trip. Yeah. None of us is gonna have any fun with that.
No.
I don't need that in my life.
Oh,
I don't think anybody needs that in their life, to be perfectly honest.
No, they don't.
Right.
Trip is destroyed.
You've actually hurt Codex on a spiritual level.
What a mess.
Oh dear.
Oh, that I didn't miss that. Okay, good.
Oh
yeah, you hurt Codex on a spiritual level there.
Stop stealing! Not only are you stealing my culture's insults, you're stealing my jokes. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, what can you do? Such is life.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So the borough thing it confused me a little bit. I'm not sure if that's because it was executed poorly or because I tend to process things better if it's in the written word than through visual media. So if it's something that's similar-ish to the book, then I can follow it more easily than if they invent things. So I don't know if that's the reason why I got a little confused at first, or if they executed it poorly.
I would say that it was executed not very well. I can agree with that. I don't think the Burrow fight.
Oh yeah.
That was not well executed at all. I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit of a flash in the pan as well. Like it just sort of like happens. And then
never ever gets brought up again.
Yeah, it's like whereas in the books is it's an actual plot point, you know, like yeah. No, I agree. That's a bit of a weird moment in the movie.
Yeah, to be fair, it's the kind of thing that Bellatrix would do.
Yeah. But it's sort of like yeah. Especially because the scene just before it is a really nice kind of like, it's Christmas, you know, you know. But and then it's like okay. Same to be fair though, speaking of stuff to do with the borough, you know, resident daughter of the borough, Ginny. Like I like Ginny in the books. I think Ginny's great. I think Ginny and Harry are a great
cute little couple.
You know,
but they have no chemistry in the movie. They
have zero. They have zero. They don't even have a chance to have any chemistry in the movie. Partly because Harry is a boring plank of wood. Because the thing that makes their couple quite cute is that he's funny, and they took away his sense of humor. Yeah, and then meanwhile, Ginny is like this sporty, you know, like confident girl that used to be shy, and she has this really cool little character arc, and there's none of that in the movies. Like, you know, it's kind of there's the bare bones of it, but there's not enough for you don't see her as a confident, like, you know, sporty girl. Like, I think you know that she plays Quidditch, but like she's so like much of a nothing character that it's like okay, right.
Even
and
in
kind of the only little bit that we might get is that Christmas bit.
Yeah, even in the books, there's kind of a gap between like book 2 where she does the diary and she exists like in the other books, but she doesn't do much until suddenly book 6 she becomes a major love interest character.
Yeah, and like that's obviously a thing, and you know he notices her for the first time, and he's like, oh shit, you're like sporty and awesome, and you've changed, and you're not actually obsessed with me anymore. And he's like finds that he's got a bit of a crush on her, and finds that upsets him now, whereas before he thought it was weird. You know, like it's I like that. There's a lot of cool shit going on with that. They're a really great little couple. Well.
Yes, that would go really well in their churchy thing.
Look, long as you're arm in arm with Aspiring when you do that.
Romantic. This is a romantic moment in the story.
Oh dear.
Goddamn.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's
move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I love you, Trip. Love you very much, and I'm glad you're in fine form today.
Oh.
Hey. I think the main thing to discuss is Draco Malfoy. They actually added scenes into this to more clearly convey Draco's very, very clear, conflicted personality on this whole Dumbledore assassination thing. He also is carrying his dad's cane, which that one is definitely a wow, this poor kid has no idea what he's up against, and he is in serious pain due to the fact that his dad has basically been emasculated, and he's carrying around his daddy's balls in a sack on the cane. And it gets even more humiliating for Lucius in the 7th movie.
Yeah, it's like again back to the whole like you know, fleshing out the Slytherins. Obviously, you know, Draco is another one. The Malfoy family as a concept, their downfall in story is one of my favorite aspects of the story, and the movie definitely does a little, at least part. I don't think anything's majorly left out of that. Obviously, you know, and I mean, we're not on book movie 7 and 8 yet, but Lucius Malfoy in movie 7 and 8 is like, good God, Jason Isaacs, you acted the hell out of that. Like, wow.
Indeed, he did.
Yeah, he looks utterly destroyed.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's partly hair and makeup doing a bloody good job too, but like, he looks destroyed. Draco looks destroyed. Everyone, like, fucking Paul, like, meanwhile, Narcissa in the corner is like, I did not sign up for this shit. Like, you know, I don't have, I don't have sympathy for Lucius, but
you feel sympathy for Lucius.
I don't necessarily have sympathy for him, but I love how low his character is brought, and
that's probably fair. Yeah,
I feel somewhat sorry for him in that, like, his life just got dragged down the shitter, and essentially now it's a case of all he wants is for his family not to die, you know.
Yeah, I agree with Trip though, and I'm not sure I have any sympathy for Lucius either. I mean, I have a little more sympathy for Draco because he's only a kid.
It's more in the sense that he brought it upon himself, and it gets to the point that you're like, okay, you're a pitiful. I have pity for him. That's what it is, not sympathy, pity, because it's like this man has suffered enough. Like, I have no sympathy, but I pity him by the end because he is a pitiful human, you know. And essentially, his wife has to lie to Voldemort and save Harry in order for them to even get out alive. You know, it's quite a sorry state of affairs, and I don't think anyone ever respected him ever again after all that shit. You know,
no, I mean he already got his second chance after Voldemort's first return to power. He joined Voldemort twice. Yeah, I'm mildly surprised that.
The downfall.
I would imagine them to be kind of pariahs after that.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like, you know, I'm imagining their family dynamic after this, and Narcissus is just like, I don't imagine she has a good relationship with him after this.
No,
she's like, you are on permanent sleeping on the couch duty after this. Bub.
And you know, she saved their asses, and I imagine Draco probably gets on better with his mum than his dad, though he's probably like trying to bridge them somewhat, you know, because he turns out to be an alright dude, you know. So as far as we know from the story, so like I find that story interesting. You know, and I think Jason fucking Isaacs.
Yeah, he's even better. I think that Jason Isaacs is one of those people that he elevated. He was born to play the role, and he actually elevated the role beyond what it already was.
Yeah, he definitely did. He really. Like, Lucius Malfoy isn't necessarily the most interesting character, but he does have a somewhat interesting arc. But you get a really good actor playing him, and it's just like, I mean, you know, you remember him in the second movie, and he's just like this fucking, oh god, you want to strangle him, and it's just like a perfect veneer. And as time goes on, you know, you get to the fourth one, and he's there, and you get that wonderful moment where like Voldemort's like berating him, and you see him like kind of.
How do you live with yourself?
He looks like he starts to look like a small man next to Voldemort, and from there he just spirals straight down the fucking toilet. And it's kind of wonderful to see until you get to the point that you're like, okay, now you're just a worm on the floor, and I can't actually hate you anymore. I just want I just want to put you out of your pathetic misery.
Yeah,
you
Draco,
know,
like I say, I have a little more sympathy for Draco, though. Even Draco, I mean, when you're 16, you're old enough to know that Nazism is bad. So,
yes, but you might also be a stupid edgy boy, and you might also be tied up with it with your family, and think your family is going to die if you don't get involved.
Yeah, that's definitely a motive in book 6. He doesn't want to get. Voldemort's going to kill him. So in book 6, that's a motive. It's no longer as cool. See, he's pretending at the beginning. He's pretending he's all cool and stuff, but by the end of it, he like realizes, you know what, I'm not so cool after all.
Yeah, I think that's partly a coping mechanism, and also like it's sort of like things that are dark and edgy feel cool to a teenager. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that they thought it through. You know.
No.
I think the main thing to discuss after that now that we've discussed Draco, the cut bits of Voldemort. I do think that the bit about Hepzibah Smith was interestingly cut. I kind of, to a certain extent, understand why, though.
Yeah.
Because it would kind of come off as a little bit skeevy to a certain extent. They would totally think, oh, he's totally screwing her for doing her to make it so that I think the audience would totally assume, oh, he's just screwing her, and that's why she is puts up with him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's very, very creepy. I mean, maybe he gave her a love potion or something. In fact, I suspect he probably did, but
yeah, since since she's very much a older lady who was just absolutely smitten with this guy who he was handsome. He got less handsome as time went on, which is interesting. But he definitely messed with her head a lot.
It would be really, really hard to have done that tastefully, I have to admit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like maybe you could have done it in the sense of like you had the Hufflepuff cup part without like that element, you know.
Yeah, without the fact that she's clearly crushing on him hard.
Yeah, I think, and with the weird house elf stuff too, like I think you needed the setup of Hufflepuff's cup. You didn't necessarily need that whole rabbit hole. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's the flaw of leaving it out. I get why they got rid of it, but I think they got rid of a core story element like we discussed earlier.
So I'm in a weird position. I knew who it was because it was spoiled for me. Because I read the end because my mother's a bad influence on me.
I saw it in the movie in the cinema before I read the book, so I discovered it when watching the movie.
Same here.
And the movie does not give as many hints that the book does. The book has a lot more hints. Snape knows after Harry uses Sectum Sempra that, oh, you found my old book.
Yeah, like it's like, you know that it's a mystery, but you don't have like the whole like trying to work out who it is and, you know, figuring out, you know, and you don't have that interesting conversation with when Lupin sounds like an American or something when Harry brings it up and goes, oh, like, do you know who the Half-Blood Prince is? And he goes, we don't have princes in the Wizarding World. It's like, good God, whoa, okay, Jesus Christ.
And then there's
Lupin, I know you're a half furry right here, but you really just turn it down a bit.
And then there's a whole thing about how his mom, Snape's mother, married a Muggle. Her last name was Prince, and he styled himself the Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, like, I mean, that is where you never really get that explanation in the movie, sorry, but like, it's just like, oh, it's his edgy boy name.
Listen to anything out of it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have taken much time to explain that too. I mean, it only takes a couple of.
It does. It's just finding where to put it that doesn't break the flow. That's the big thing.
Just one sentence.
Yeah.
So
you know.
Towards the end,
you know, how do you do it? Because do you have him go, yes, I am the Half-Blood Prince, and you know why? Because my mother's name was Prince.
Well, in the book,
I was Half-Blood.
In the book, Hermione finds out about his mother part, and he says, "I'm the half-blood prince," and then Hermione finds out about it's because his mother's name was Eileen Prince.
Oh yeah, no, I know that, but where do you put it in a movie sense without adding a new scene where Hermione's got the thing and she says it, or like, you know what I mean? Because it's a whole scene in the book, and so you have to insert it somewhere, and it's like it's hard to do that without breaking the flow with the character going, "By the way, guess what I found?" You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't necessarily fit the pacing sometimes, and I don't know whether they just couldn't have found a moment to do it.
Okay.
But hey, I wish they had, but like, it is a very well-paced movie. It doesn't stop randomly at any point. You know, it would have been hard to break that flow to explain that. You know, so I don't know, unless you have like you could have done it maybe cleverly by like having, I don't know, background character whose surname was Prince or something in the background having a conversation, or like, you know, be subtle about it in that way. But I didn't even know if that would have worked. So, no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's not terribly plot relevant to any of the books, so it's not terribly necessary. But
it's not the worst. It's not the worst thing. Cutting out's not the worst thing.
Yeah. I think the major thing after this is the that we need to go over is the bit with the ending bit where they try to find the Slytherin's locket.
Yeah.
Which that one is interesting. I think that it's extremely well portrayed in the film. What?
Extremely what? I cut out a
well portrayed. Well portrayed in the film. It's almost directly out of the book, and it's actually really, really freaking creepy in the book, where this just absolutely strange, weird place just absolutely is absolutely creepy. The lighting is actually perfect. The set design is really good. It looks like it's full of crystals. It looks very unearthly and strange.
And there's also the reason why Voldemort chose it in the first place.
Yeah, because because he wanted to put it in a site of his previous sadism.
Yeah, so that's something else. I mean, we don't know exactly what happened, and it's probably for the best.
The only thing we know is that those poor little kids couldn't talk ever again. That they were so traumatized by what happened and they just didn't know anything. It was something that they just weren't able to really get recovered from ever.
It was the metric system.
Clearly.
Oh no.
Oh no, indeed.
It's the true evil.
Indeed.
So they were measuring the cave and meters and stuff, and that's what drove them mad?
Indeed.
Oh no.
Clearly.
Yikes.
Oh dear.
Clearly.
Well, anyway.
So after that, I think the part where Marco Gambon drinks the potion is legitimately heartbreaking.
Yes.
They do it more as a kind of a montage than a progression, and I think that's for the best because it comes off as so terrifying. Like that potion is honestly way more terrifying than any in Fury, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not just terrifying, it's it's completely heartbreaking. Like, it's like, oh god, it hurts my stomach with how much my heart breaks watching that scene. It's just like, holy fuck.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
you
guys are like, no, we're men. We don't have weak woman hearts.
I mean, I like how, and we won't even know what horrible thing was happening to Dumbledore while I was jinxing it, and that's for the best too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do know from Creature that was apparently like it was tearing his insides apart and all sorts of bad things.
There was a psychological dimension to it.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it's kind of like in a lot of ways it's relatively similar to Alzheimer's, or kind of, at least like it's very applicable to Alzheimer's, where it's slowly losing your mind and your perception of reality.
Mm.
And then
yeah,
we have the final scene where Dumbledore is killed. It's very, very different than it is in the book. In the book, it is much more low key. Well, in the movie, it's much more low key. The Death Eaters just basically perform random acts of violence. But then and in the book, there's a whole fight where the Death Eaters have to fight their way out. Which I think that is a decent choice, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Where it allows you to sit with the emotion a little bit more, so that you don't have to have kind of the whiplash of action, then sadness. You just go right to, oh crap, Dumbledore's dead. And then you take a moment to sit with it as the Death Eaters are destroying Hogwarts, as almost a, I guess, a White Witch type situation.
I would say more Morgana, really. That's just me.
Well, I mean, like a destruction of the thing that they hate type thing.
Yeah, of course.
Or
of course.
debasement of it.
To be fair, I was more referring to Bellatrix with the Merlin situation, because
she got to go nuts in this in a way that she did not get to in the Merlin miniseries with the good old Jurassic Park art guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Is that the one we saw?
That was
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Yeah, Sam Neill.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The one with Arthur in 20 minutes. That one, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a trip.
That was something. That was something.
Oh dear.
It was definitely not a good movie or a good show, but
I enjoyed the experience. It's like, you know, hey, I'm happy I'm here. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
So, Trip says, there's a number of things she says in the chat, and I wanted to agree with the one, not that, but I wanted to highlight the one we didn't touch on yet, because we were talking about the final scene. Although we got quite a bit of backstory on Snape, I think his would make a great separate character study, life story, to have from his point of view. And I've always kind of regretted that there wasn't. It'd be nice if there were like
ancillary
stuff. Yeah, like at least a book about from Snape's point of view of his, his experience, why he became a Death Eater would be interesting too.
Yeah.
I know at least after she finished the series, I think she obviously, she did go back to the Harry Potter world, but with like, Fantastic Beasts, but
not quite the same thing.
But at the time of finishing writing the Harry Potter series, I think she really wanted to write. That's why she took a freaking pseudonym and started writing mysteries. You know, like she just wanted to step away, write something different, and put it down because she'd been doing it for like, you know, what was it? She'd been writing it for like nearly 20 years, and you know, it was
she
like
needed to get out to a certain extent.
Yeah, just like you know.
Yeah, they did remove the funeral for Dumbledore and just had the vigil where they the light from their wands chases away the dark mark. I think that was a really good touch. And then Harry and Hermione agree to go find the Horcruxes while Ron sits in the background.
Yeah, he does.
Because Ron can't possibly be a useful fucking character. We can't have him making decisions. That's what clever people do, and him be stupid.
Yeah.
It's pretty well known he's an idiot. Yeah, moron.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, yes, I want Moron. Moron being a character, people.
Ginger.
So, alrighty.
So I will say that what's her name? Emma Watson does act the part very well.
Yeah, I would agree. I can't think of anybody else who I would rather get to play Hermione Granger.
People used to complain about her back in the day, but I can't remember why or for what.
It probably wasn't for Beauty and the Beast. I hate that movie, and her singing in that movie was awful.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's.
So, I think that we can conclude things there, though. Becca, you had one last thought, though.
Oh, I got cut out when I was talking, but I was just going to say the thing about Emma Watson is that she is pretty much a 1-for-1 for Hermione in terms of personality, if a little bit more, you know, as we discussed,
attractive.
Yes, and a bit more socially acceptable as like a, you know, personality type. But she's pretty much her Hermione, which is why she fits into the character. And when she steps out and does other things, it turns out that that's just like the only thing. She's not too bad. She was actually pretty good in was it Perks of Being a Wallflower, because that was something a bit different. But
she's also decent in there's a 3 Ballet Slippers movie where 3 girls get it's actually funny. The guy who plays Vernon Dursley adopts these 3 girls. I can't remember the name of the movie. I read the book first.
You know what? I remember that movie coming out and wanting to see it and never seeing it. Shit. I ought to track that down and watch it. Anyway, yeah, she's okay.
I do need to get going. Going though. My sister needs me to play her chauffeur to take her to ballet because I need the car to go to institute afterwards. So we'll conclude it there, folks. Thank you guys all for coming. We've appreciated you, and we'll finish it up to the Harry Potter series tomorrow. And after that, I have no idea what we're doing.
Fantastic Beasts! It's happening.
Okay, let's at least take a break and watch some good movies.
Because it'll be.
It's not. It's actually worse because it's not fanfic. J.K. Rowling wrote it herself. I
know, that's a weird thing. I know.
No.
It feels like fanfiction, but it's not.
I'm telling you why it's interesting, because it's like because it's not malicious in how it's bad, and it's sometimes good and sometimes bad, right? So it's actually interesting to talk about. That's why we should watch it, and because Dunn doesn't want to, therefore we should watch it. Anyway, yeah.
I'll make a deal with you if you guys watch if we do a big Too Hot to Handle watch, I will watch the Fantastic Beasts movies.
You know, fuck it. I agree to that. You better fucking deliver.
Deal. Okay, fine. I'll watch Too Hot to Handle. You, me, and Codex will watch Too Hot to Handle, record it, and then we will watch Fantastic Beasts.
Yes.
Great. You get to watch a bunch of Instagram models have a sex band put on them.
Well, that sounds horrendous. That actually sounds horrendous. Oh no.
All right.
Anyway, yeah.
Welcome. All right.
You know what?
See you later. Bye.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Bye.
Enough. Kill me. Just end it.